Hello everyone, Vicki Achard from Nature's Best Art. Thank you for joining me today. Today I thought it'd be fun to paint a rose, watercolor, and a few watercolor pencils. Thought it'd be fun to think of the sunshine and the warm weather in the garden instead of the cold and the snow. Now here I am sketching my drawing. I wanted you to see how I did it. I actually start in the very middle when I sketch a rose. I really think it's important to get that middle because I really think that that look really makes it look like a rose. And then I just continue my drawing until all the petals are drawn. And I like to put those ridges there on the leaf because that's how rose leaves are. And I got a little mark there, so I just erased it. I always put my drawing on my wall there so I could refer to it if I need to, if I lose any lines. Just briefly, I want to show you my palette. I have what they call a Jones palette. It has 32 wells, and I really like it. I've had it for 5 years. And it's a little stained, but I can use turpentine on it if I want to get that off. My colors are Hansa Yellow Deep and Gamboge mix for the deep yellow, raw sienna and Azo Yellow for the very light yellow, Azo Yellow, Permanent Alizarin Crimson for there was a little red on the tips of those roses, and Permanent Alizarin Crimson, raw sienna and burnt umber and ultramarine blue for my mix for the shadows. Okay, now I'm starting to put my water on the entire rose. So I want to put my first wash, I want to make that all yellow because a lot of the rose was yellow. So I'm putting my Azo Yellow, my very light. And then my next color is that Azo Yellow and Permanent Alizarin Crimson. It had orange here and there, light. And so I didn't put a lot of red right away in that area. All these beautiful warm colors to work with. I really enjoy that. I'm using my number 12 round. And I saw more orange around that area in the middle there. Now I'm starting to put my deep yellow in with Hansa Yellow Deep and Gamboge. The Gamboge is a little bit of a tint of an orange. And that's a really pretty color. I love the Gamboge color. Really warms it up. And now I'm putting some more of that Azo Yellow and Permanent Alizarin Crimson here and there. I don't know if you can hear that. That's coming from my kitchen. I'm downstairs in my husband's office, and that's our birdie clock. You've heard it in my craft room. We also have one in our kitchen. I don't know if you heard that, but I enjoy listening to that those birdie clocks. Putting some more of that deep yellow. And now I'm going in with that Azo Yellow and Permanent Alizarin Crimson, but more of the Permanent Alizarin Crimson to get that redder look to the tips of those those petals there. And I'm wanting to pull that color out, so I'm using my number 4 brush. That's spreading it out a little bit there. Now I'm starting to put some shadows in around the lines also. And the shadow color was, I wanted to bring in that raw sienna that I used with the raw sienna and Azo Yellow. But that didn't work very well, so I added burnt umber to that, and I think I got that a little too brown. I think I should have added actually a little bit more ultramarine blue, and probably just the burnt umber instead of the raw sienna. So at the end of my rose, I noticed the shadows, I would have liked that a little bit more grayer than browner. So you just add the more ultramarine blue and use the burnt umber. It would be fine. Now here I could have actually stopped painting, but I continued and wanted more color here and there, a little bit more shadows. There's a point where you say, oh, is this done? And but oh, and now here's the beep. I'm next to the kitchen, so I'm actually making raspberry muffins. I'm going to have a mom's play group coming tomorrow, and hoping that they'll enjoy those raspberry muffins. I'm looking forward to that play group. I've been getting ready for that all day. It's anyway, so there you see me putting that shadow in. The green that I use is Sap Green, and Ultramarine Blue to make the leaves a little darker. Those two colors will make the leaves a little darker. And I love Sap Green. So I'm putting the water in on the leaves first, adding Sap Green, using a credit card scraper to get those veins. And then what you do is you put more of the color in so that the veins will stand out. And I'm trying to keep that those edges around the leaf, putting some highlights on right away. You saw me taking a little bit of that color out and get a highlight on the leaf. And there I'm using that Sap Green and Ultramarine Blue. It makes it darker. It's really pretty together. Using my brush to stroke by those edges there. Putting more color in, getting the veins out. And then I put the detail in around those edges of the leaf there. Highlight them. And now you saw me put my hand up there. I'm starting to think, I don't know if I'm actually going to put a border all around my card, because that leaf, it looks maybe going to look kind of funny. So I'm starting to think about that all the while I'm doing these leaves. Trying to make up my mind what I'm going to do. Then I thought, whoa, you'll see what I do next to kind of think about how that will look on the end there. Now here I'm taking some of the paint off to give it some highlights. I wanted to, to lighten it up just a bit, but it got just a little too dark for my liking. And like I said, you could stop at any point you want until you like it. You paint it until you like it, and then when you say, "Oh, that looks pretty nice," then you know you're done. Putting a little scraping of the credit cards right on the ends of those petals there to make that stand out a little bit more. Okay, now I'm taking my colored pencils. I'm actually going to put a wash around the entire flower. I'm using my Derwent Inktense watercolor pencils. And here first though, I put that orange, because I got quite a bit of orange in that flower, so I wanted to make those the petals stand out a little bit more with that it's called Tangerine, number 300. of the Derwent Inktense. No, I like that better, right over that shadow. And here looks like I'm wanting a little bit of that. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm putting the water on the color pencil now to intensify that color. Now I'm taking a little bit of that shadow away from the areas. Like I say, I think I got just a little too brown and I didn't want that to show up very much. So I'm taking that away a little bit. I really like it now a lot. But I'm putting my Uniball Signal gel pen on there to get some highlights on there, a little bit more white in there. And I could have used my Pro White opaque watercolor, but I opt to use my white gel pen. You can use, you know, anything you want to make that your highlights. Now here's where I thought, you know, I'm real unsure of that leaf, and I don't want to take the tape off thinking then that leaf is going to look funny, and I really don't want to put an entire border like around the tape. So I'm putting an entire wash, thinking that everything's going to blend in and that leaf won't just look kind of funny if I take the tape off. So I went in with my, I believe that was my, Azo Yellow and Permanent Alizarin Crimson, because what I'm going to try to do is get an orange look, and so I'm going in with that color, and then I'm putting red, which is a poppy red, number 400, over the orange, and then my last wash, you'll see what I do, and it'll look orange. So I put the light orange, this poppy red, and what you can do, what I'm doing there is I'm taking water on my brush, and then the color off of the color pencil and putting it on a piece of tile. That was a piece of tile. We renovated our kitchen, and I held on to one of those tiles because I knew I, you know, eventually wanted to work with my colored pencils in this way. Some people say that you shouldn't do this to your colored pencils, but I find it's okay. I just don't sharpen them right away, and it works out. Where I don't have any of them break when I do this. So I guess I let them dry enough, and then I use it again. Okay, so it's getting to the point where it's getting a little too red for me now, but you'll see what I do to lighten it up to make it that orange, because like I say, there was oranges in that rose, and I thought this would be a real pretty color. And there I go, putting my, let's see, that was the raw sienna and Azo Yellow, to make that very light yellow on it. And it's picking it up, and when it dries it looks orange, and that's the color I wanted to create. Red and yellow, and a little of the orange makes a real pretty orange color. So let's see here, I'm spreading that with my water and a brush, that gel pen, that white, so it looks a little spread out, and I like that better. Signing my name, and I'm just really wondering what this leaf is going to look like. As soon as I take it off, I like it. And I think it's because I put all that wash around the flower that I like it. So I'm giving myself a thumbs up because I like the leaf. And because it did turn out quite orange, you know, my wash around the whole entire rose, I wanted to bring out a little bit more of that orange in the rose. So I used my Tangerine watercolor pencil, and I like it. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with a friend. And I hope you enjoy painting your rose. Until next time, happy creating!